He then says, in the merciful Bergoglian church, I'm going to pause here because I used that phrase in today's show title, the Bergoglian church. What is that? Well, if you're a student of Vigano's thought, whether you agree with him or not, part of his theology is the idea that there is a church and a counter church. A church and a counter church. So when Vigano talks about church and anti-church, church and counter church, or here he says Bergoglian church, which he identifies as the counter church, he's saying we're seeing grow up wheat and weeds. And at this time in church history, after we experienced an infiltration, which went back to the 1800s, we're starting to say, this structure, this liturgy, this theology, this sort of package deal that we've seen and become manifest, it started growing in the 1800s, but then in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, we started to say, that's not wheat. So, he says, in the merciful Bergoglian church, the heir of the post-conciliar church, which are both variants of a spirit that no longer has anything Catholic about it. It is licit to discuss, contest, and reject any dogma, any truth of the faith, any magisterial document, and any papal pronunciation prior to 1958. Why 1958? 1958 is the year Pius XII died and John the 23rd was elected. What he's saying here is you can reject in the modern church doctrines pre-1958. What if someone says, in order to go to heaven, all you have to do is be a good person. You don't need to be baptized. You don't need to confess faith in Jesus Christ. There are many ways to heaven. Will that be corrected by your local bishop? No. What if they bring idols like maybe a Mother Earth goddess? Is that going to be condemned? Every single pope and church father would condemn it. We find, therefore, ourselves in the grotesque situation of hearing the denial of the most holy Trinity, a denial of the divinity of Jesus Christ, the doctrine of suffrages for the dead, the purposes of the holy sacrifice of the Mass, transubstantiation, the perpetual virginity of Mary, most holy, without incurring any canonical sanction. Like I said, there are Catholic priests who deny transubstantiation. They don't get in trouble. They deny that Mary's perpetual virgin. They don't get in trouble. They deny indulgences and prayers for the dead. They don't get in trouble. He says, if this were not the case, almost all the consultors of Vatican II and the present Roman Curia would already have been excommunicated.